Alright, I am back with a Borderlands 3 video. Have I ever done a Borderlands video? I can't actually remember if I have or not. I should check my list, but obviously Borderlands is the original loot shooter in many senses, but I kind of stopped playing it around when I started this YouTube channel, and I haven't really been back to it very much since. But that has changed as of this week when I am making this video about me kind of heading back for this new patch they just released, which technically does not have any like new content per se, but some of it is new to me because I skipped it. Oh, my light just fell. Yeah, it's still up. And part of it is kind of what they introduced with this patch itself. First of all, the level cap has been increased from 65 to 72, meaning it's probably going to stay that way for a very long time now because it's been a while since they did that. So you can kind of feel safe farming gear when previously you never really know when they were going to just knock it up a few levels and then negate all your gear. The Destiny community always complains about sunsetting, but Borderlands kind of sunsets all its gear every time you raise the level cap because there is no actual infusion system or anything like that. Some Borderlands players love that and think it's essential to the series. Other people wish they kind of get with the times. I don't even have an opinion anymore. I used to not like it, but I don't really care about regrinding things now. And one thing I have noticed kind of jumping back in that I was a little concerned about is scaling, because every time they introduce kind of a new enemy cap, every time you level up, all the enemies level up, but you are still stuck using your old gear. But as you can see in the footage here, so I am rocking my, level 70 Zane, so enemies are all like level 70 at this point, or 69. I think I changed over to 70 in this video. But my gear is still all 65 or below. Like some of my class mods are like 50 something just because I haven't replaced them. But it doesn't matter really. Like I'm still doing pretty well with this cryo laser cannon after action skill builds that I have going on here. Things were a little tougher with Amara because I had a full melee build going with her. That was a little harder to manage, but by the end, like one thing about a melee build is that it really doesn't require a lot of leveled up gear. Like if your gun has 300%, melee damage, and you have all these kind of melee focus, like I have like a level 52 brawler shield or something that I'm using. So it doesn't really matter in terms of builds like that. The same goes for Iron Bear. So a lot of these don't really have to do with level at all. But even the ones that do, like Zane, I'm finding it's not really that much of an impediment to kind of get back in and enjoying the game. I am not getting like utterly destroyed by anything, as you can see. I die a couple times, but dying and reviving yourself is a part of Borderlands life, and that's just kind of how it goes. But I've been having a really good time with it. I did a full playthrough of the content I'm doing here is actually the director's cut content, which were these kind of mystery stories where Ava's doing like a murder mystery podcast, which sounded lame, but is actually pretty good. There's some good story stuff in there, and I didn't realize, like I knew that they were taking place on existing planets. What I did not realize is that all of these quests are adding new zones to those planets. So each, I think there's 4 in total, each of those mysteries add a pretty substantive new zone to existing planets. There's one on Pandora, Eden 6, Necrotopio, and some other, the Metro, I forget what that planet's called, but the Metropolitan one. And it's all, it's good amount of stuff to kind of level up on. I think I got to like level 70 and a half or something with Amara by the time I was done. I beat this one here with Zane at just turning over to 70, and there's one left, so I'll probably be at about the same metric then. And then you can kind of do whatever you want to hit 72, and then that's when you'd really kind of be refarming gear and stuff. The other thing about this new patch is that it reintroduced all of the past limited time events. So anytime you want, you can just like flip a switch and you will be participating in either Bloody Harvest, a Halloween event, something, what's the heart one? I can't remember what the Valentine's Day one is. I'll remember it after, but that one, which does not have like a dedicated level or anything, there's just like hearts that explode with loot and things like that. And then of course there's Revenge of the Cartels, which is the one that everybody wanted to see back here. And that has been reprised. It has new cosmetics you can earn, and then it brought back all of its loot, including some of the really famous weapons like OPQ, and they have buffed a lot of other weapons. I think the Needler, is that one? I think that's one, and that's supposed to be really good now, according to Moxie, my source for all Borderlands builds. These builds I'm using here, like I kind of just they're mostly are left over from when I last left off here. I didn't change really anything about my Zane one. The Amara one I had based around her old orb, or like the orb skill they introduced where you bounce the orb around, but I kind of hate that thing, so I changed her around to have a better melee build. Zane, I really enjoy his shoulder cannon skill that lets him use after action skill anointments, so I've been having a lot of fun with him. And he's still really strong. Like the weapons I'm using for this cryo-based build are still doing really well, and we'll see if that's the case by level 72, but I'm kind of picking up things here and there that might be useful if it turns out I need significantly more damage. But like your health scales when you level up, so you're not kind of dying all the time because you get a pretty significant amount of health every time that happens. And then you can pick up a new shield, which will also scale now. And so it's not really that hard to kind of loosely coast with your old builds for a while, and then once you hit 70, then you can really start gearing in earnest. I am playing on Mayhem 11 here, which is the Mayhem mode that takes away all the, what I would argue are annoying modifiers of the map, but it also really reduces drop rates. So one thing I've noticed, because I haven't played since Arms Race, since the Designer's Cut DLC, the drop rate is definitely a lot lower, but this is kind of a combination of a few things where, so the drop rate is cut in half at baseline because of Mayhem 11 versus Mayhem 10. But with that said, like, that's kind of a sacrifice I'm willing to make because Mayhem 10 is just so annoying with all those modifiers. I just have never liked it. It makes the game too, it's not even just difficulty, it's like too chaotic and cluttered and annoying with all these elemental particle effects everywhere. So I don't really mind that. Also, they eliminated a lot of the crap anointments and they buffed a lot of the bad anointments, so there are a lot more potential good anointments to get. There's also now anointment re-rolling, so you can re-roll for the specific anointment you're looking for, which was added since last time I played, so that's kind of another reason that drop rates don't need to be as high as they used to be. Boss drop rates still seem pretty good, and they definitely buffed red chest drop rates too, where I see a good amount of legendaries in those. Seeing a lot less legendaries just out in the world and from like badass enemies. I swear you used to be able to kill like every badass enemy was giving you like 2 legendaries. It was crazy, but as you can see now, it's very limited. Like I think I only get 1 or 2 legendaries in this whole scene here, and one was from a chest. The boss didn't drop any. Generally, I've gone back to farm a couple bosses just to see what that's like, and those are still dropping multiple ones on kill, so that's not too bad or anything. So I think, well, it does feel less. I do think the amount of legendaries that were dropping before could be almost overwhelming. Like it was a little bit absurd at the end there, just how many you would get. And you would pick up what, like 1 out of every 100 at a certain point, because they're just, there were so few that were actually what you were looking for. So I think the new system they designed with re-rolling and things like that is actually pretty good. So I am back, and I'm probably going to play at least, to get everyone up to 72, all 4 classes. I don't know if I'll beat this exact DLC 4 times or not. I have not done the raid boss, the Cromarax. I think, unless you're like really good, I think you probably need a team for that. I have found all of Borderlands team-based matchmaking stuff to be awful. So I don't know if that's going to be any different or not. But the matchmaking there is really bad, and I've the revive system. I don't know, maybe they've changed some stuff with that, but I really hated doing. The strongholds, I thought they were, or no, not strongholds, takedowns. They were very unforgiving, and then like eventually they became a lot easier. I don't know where they're at now, but I may have to go and try and check those out again. It is a little overwhelming because there's like so much loot in the game now, and in so many places from so many activities, you can be a little lost in terms of what you're kind of going for. But right now, I'm just trying to level everyone up, get those 7 new skill points, and throw them in, specific places to be even stronger. And I don't know, it doesn't feel overwhelming in the sense that like I feel lost picking it up again. Like there's a little bit of an adjustment curve if I haven't played for months and months, but fundamentally it's Borderlands, you get used to it, and I'm having a good time with it. This update also introduced crossplay, so you can play across all PC versions with all Xbox versions. PlayStation was left out of this for reasons that are still not specified, but it is probably because Sony is never that great about allowing crossplay, and it may have something to do with the revelation that they are charging Epic Games for crossplay with Fortnite, and maybe someone didn't want to pay that, so that's where we're at there. But overall, I think this is a very good time to kind of jump back into Borderlands 3, and this seems like it's probably going to be one of the most significant updates the game gets for a while now. I don't know what their year 3 plans are. I don't think this is like the last update it's ever going to get or anything. However, they are launching a new game next year, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So I do imagine that like a lot of their priorities are going to be shifting to that, and also they do have Borderlands 4 in development, which they haven't said explicitly. They haven't said the words Borderlands 4, but it's happening. Like it's happening. Just believe me. So we'll see where we're at, but this seems like a good time to hop back in. I know I also have been recommending Outriders all week, which is also in a good spot, and then I've been extolling the virtues of Destiny's Season of the Splicers storytelling and the loot there all season. So in short, there are a lot of really good loot games to play right now, and I am finding it hard to balance all my time between them, but I'm doing my best. So that's Borderlands. I'm going to check and see if I've ever made a Borderlands video before. I might have to make a new category. I don't know how often I'll be talking about Borderlands until Tiny Tina's game comes out, because I don't know how many updates there will need to be, but that's where we're at for now. And yeah, go play. Enjoy.